introduce to you Chairman Omali Yeshitela.
Thank you. First of all, I want to apologize for my voice. I'm not able to project on tonight the way that I'm accustomed to speaking, as people will probably tell you. Some years ago, I was pepper sprayed with tear gas and locked into a tear gas filled center for quite a bit of time. I developed a nodule on my vocal cord that has just flared up recently, and I'm going to have to do something about that, but it's necessary for me to sort of be careful about how I'm talking. I want to express appreciation to Modern Times for making it possible for us to be here. I used to live in this area some years ago. I stayed here for about 12, 13 years ago. And tried you for 2 other times. But then it's been said that dictatorship is ruled without regard for law. And that's exactly what we see when we see this kind of thing that was happening. So the revolutionary movement was crushed. And it was replaced by petty bourgeois African academicians and NGO types and poverty pimps, etc. And for the longest period, for this past for progressive or revolutionary activity, in fact, progressivism has sort of become the word, now, not revolution, not overthrowing imperialism or capitalism, but somehow people are progressive, and what the hell that means, it depends, compared to what, as the song goes. And so now, we have people whose careers, academicians, you can see them regularly, on TV and hear them on KPFA and other, kind of quote-unquote progressive stations. But it's not revolution. And so you can walk into Modern Times and most of the major bookstores and pick up really nifty books on black people and other kinds of questions, but not revolution, not the struggle to seize power. And the change.
So who's gonna go first?
Yeah. So it's a blessing to be here with you. And from our perspective at Poor Magazine, there's a lot of lives that are going on. Basically, our brothers and sisters in Libya. And first of all, we'd love to honor that you're doing a book and what the name of the book is. So it's One People, One Party, One Destiny, Political Report, the 5th Congress of the African People's Socialist Party, USA. But we'd love to hear your perspective on Libya.
Well, first of all, everything that the USA is saying is a lie about Libya. And everything that the so-called coalition is saying, they're a group of thugs who are extremely concerned about the shifting balance of power in North Africa and the Middle East as a consequence of what is transpiring even now in Egypt, Tunisia, Bahrain, Oman, etc. What that means in terms of the growing strength of forces like Iran and Libya, who are hardline on the Palestinian question, among other things. And of course the Iranians, who've had their own experience with U.S. imperialism for a number of years, having inherited the Shah of Iran as a consequence of the legitimate government of Mohammad Mossadegh being overthrown in 1954-55 by the United States government. And I think that that's part of the issue, that the strategic value of Israel and the whole region, that most of the quote-unquote Western world relies on for petroleum resources, etc. The United States, under Obama, who is a war criminal among other things, The United States attacked that country in the same fashion that it has always attacked countries in that area where it had overwhelming superiority in terms of military capacity. They claim to have been doing that for humanitarian reasons to protect the Libyan people from Gaddafi on the one hand, even as their puppet forces in Yemen were gunning down, massacring, like hundreds of people there. With U.S. support and assistance, it's the U.S. who arms them. Even as Saudi Arabia was sending troops in to put down by military force demonstrators in Bahrain, where the Fifth Fleet is based, that is of such strategic significance to the United States. So it's all a lie in terms of why they attacked that country, and especially when you look at the fact that they said that they were going to stop Gaddafi from massacring people in the eastern part of Libya, Benghazi, but they're bombing Tripoli, the capital, which is miles and miles away from that. So it's a bogus claim, and their objective again is to stop Gaddafi, overturn the government if they can, and put a puppet regime.
Well, thank you again for giving us the opportunity for this knowledge, which I come from Oakland in a very poor barrio, ghetto. We sometimes we don't even know who owns the real estate in our communities, right? But one of the things, and even some of the stuff that's coming out in the corporate media, it's really like misguided. But one of the things that I was surprised how, compared to Egypt, how quickly the U.S. responded with violence, and especially with bombarding and throwing missiles at the Libyan population. Can you talk to you a little bit about that?
Yes, because Egypt, in fact, the attack on Libya, in part, is a response to what they lost or what they may be losing in Egypt. When Libya, which is an extremely contradictory regime, in the sense that Gaddafi has done some things that people consider positive. He's supported the IRA, he supported many other kinds of Palestinians, if we are hardcore on the Palestinian question. He supports the notion of African unity, etc. But he's also done some other, strange stuff in the view, in my view, in the view of some other people. But in terms of its strategic significance, when the U.S. is in trouble in Egypt, which means Israel is in trouble. When the U.S. is in trouble in places like Bahrain, where the Fifth Fleet is there to protect that to protect all those regimes that are in place. When the U.S. is in trouble in Yemen, that they've been propping up, for all of this time, all of the forces who were close, and in many instances satellites of U.S. imperialism, when they're on the losing end, what that means in part is, by comparison, forces that they hate and have real serious issues and problems with are growing in strength, such as Iran. They've attempted to do the same thing in Iran that they started in Libya. They attempted to do the same thing there. Now, Iran is a hard line around the Palestinian question, but also the U.S. attack on Iraq has given Iran tremendous strength, two ways. One, because as long as Saddam Hussein was in power, he was a contending balancing force for Iran, which was also very strong and powerful comparatively. A country with